Oh, and hello. Nitro show is back. February 1st, 2021. It's chilly outside. Nitro show's back. I had some interesting watches for you guys this weekend. You guys thought it was a boring fight weekend, but I found some joy in it this previous weekend. Caleb Plant versus Caleb Truax is a fun fight, good fight to watch, so we'll talk about that a little bit. Caleb Plant looked fantastic. I think he reignited some spark. Hopefully more people want to see him versus Canelo now. Talk about James Vick. Oh my God, this poor gentleman, how his career has really just turned upside down. How was your morning, Jack? Decent. Time did you wake up today?
9.
Nice. Yeah, we're supposed to start at 10, but that plumber guy came. Should have got him on the show, as you said.
Yeah.
So
Those are more missed opportunities.
right. Yeah, he's supposed to come later, so this should have already happened.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh well, he's gonna come back tomorrow and hopefully fix the problem. That way my feces stops backing up into the floor drain. Oh man, I was driving home from work this morning, and I saw the most absurd fucking thing possibly ever. I saw a Dodge Challenger SRT, and you might think, what's so cool about that? And it's not the car. No, it's not the car. I shit you not, this guy had a handicap sticker on the windshield and on the license plates, as I believe it's legally required. He had a handicap sticker. Okay, let me paint this out for you. You pull up to Walmart. You're 85 and you either have dementia, cerebral palsy, you can't walk anymore, you have some real disability. Okay? So you have some guy that you're getting from Social Security driving you around in one of those wheelchair vans. Okay? Your name's Martha, probably. You pull into the handicap and you get ready to go into Walmart. And this guy who's probably stealing your Social Security money to buy methamphetamine walks out. And he comes around. He's supposed to be your caregiver. And he lets you out of the van. He's like, all right, Martha, I'm going to wheel you in to fucking Walmart. And she's like, oh, this is a good day for Martha. She's getting to Walmart. She's getting out and about.
True.
Okay. As you're getting wheeled down to the base of the parking lot, you just hear this fired up, and a fucking Dodge Challenger pulls into the spot next to you that's also fucking handicapped. Picture this.
Yeah, I'm picturing it.
I don't think you're really handicapped if you can drive a 600 horsepower muscle car. Am I wrong?
I don't know. There's situations. It's going to be dependent.
What do you think that guy's disability was? He was a fucking douchebag?
I mean, he probably didn't have a disability, really.
How can you get one of those disability stickers on the back of your...
I don't know. I'm thinking, hopefully any condition that he has that allows him to drive a Dodge Challenger, but also be handicapped.
And park right at the front of the line.
He probably shouldn't be driving a car. So I'm thinking maybe he just has spells of, dizziness. Maybe he has cancer.
PTSD.
He's got cancer. He's going through chemotherapy, and he gets lightheaded. But he shouldn't be driving in the first place.
If you're handicapped, you shouldn't be able to get a 600 horsepower vehicle.
Well, that's the thing. He knows he's... There's a country song. Live like I was dying. Live like you were dying. He's fucking dying. He said, fuck it. I'm getting a Dodge Challenger. I've wanted one since I was born. I have nothing else to live for. I'm just going to go fast. Maybe I can wreck. But in the meantime, when I need to, get my tires changed, I'm going to park in the handicap spot and walk my ass in and say, hey, can I pull this around to the bay? I've been doing donuts. I have cancer.
Little suspect. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know.
You figured that one out for me. I have no
It can't be
idea.
hard to make a fake one.
Look up what qualifies as a disability, and I'll get going here. Caleb Plant, Caleb Truax. Whew. Fuck, that was a banger. Brandon Litch Hernandez opened the prelim boxing card on PBC. It was on Fox Sports 1, and I just wanted to talk about this because it's hilarious. Sure enough, boxing opens with a fucking draw. First fight of the night. Adrenaline's pumping. People are tentative. People get caught. And it opens as a draw. That's so boxing. I thought Brandon Lynch probably got it done, too. Pretty decisively. Okay, yeah, let's see.
Here.
All right.
Missouri law defines physical disability as listed. The person cannot ambulate or walk 50 feet without stopping to rest due to a severe and disabling arthritic, neurological, orthopedic condition or other severe and disabling condition. So you can go ahead and drive that Dodge Challenger 150 miles an hour on the highway, but don't stop and walk 50 feet because you can't.
There's no way he could fit a walker in one of those Challengers.
True. Okay. I mean,
have you ever been in a Challenger?
I haven't, but I mean, he probably could. However, getting it out, he should be feeling lightheaded and having to stop due to a severe and disabling orthopedic or severe disabling condition.
Or neurologic condition. Okay, the reason why I ask you is because the doors. The doors are so heavy that if you can't walk 50 feet, you can't open one of those doors. They're heavy as a mofo. I don't know. I almost thought about calling 911.
Yeah.
Just to report this piece of shit that's driving around getting handicapped primo positions with a fucking disabled sticker on the back.
Yeah, that would have been a good call for a pumper.
Yeah, right.
Hey, I think this guy might need some help getting out of his car.
Right. Lift assist only.
Yeah.
Jesus. I mean, he's shitting on the game. Can't blame him. Caleb Plant's shitting on the game. Caleb Plant this weekend was a minus 6,000 favorite. When's the last time you saw someone as a minus 6,000 favorite? You see it all the time in boxing. You see it all the fucking time. He did his job, though. Caleb Plant looked outstanding. He used some crazy angles. A lot of good jabs, a lot of good uppercuts. I'll tell you one thing I didn't like, though, is Caleb Plant's one of those intermediate guys where he's at the top of the divisions. He's at the top of his game. He's ready for a big title fight, a big name fight, get somebody with some name value, and he's never been able to land one of those fights. So he draws a guy in Caleb Truax who's as game as they come, follows him down. He's trying to throw shots. Caleb did end up landing some right hands over the top pretty frequently. Wasn't enough pop on him to do anything to Caleb Plant, and that didn't start till the 8th, 9th, 11th round. But if you're Caleb Plant, you have a guy that's doing exactly what your camp suspected him to do, and he's walking right into your game plan. That's a setup fight. That's to showcase your skills. That's a statement. That's to get these other promoters to want to be able to give you a big fight like a Canelo. This is to get you the Canelo fight, which is your golden ticket. One Canelo fight is probably worth the same amount of all the fights that you've had so far. And what does he do? Caleb Plant does Caleb Plant things. He looks fucking great, and then he takes off the gas pedal and he coasts. He looks fucking phenomenal, and then he coasts. And Caleb Truax did start landing that right hand. And, I doubt he got around, but Truax might have, in Plant's head, taken round 9, 10. And so then you see it around round 10, Caleb Plant really steps on the gas. And here's my problem with that. If you're going to be a point fighter, you better be a point fighter for the entire fight. Don't change your style at the last 2 minutes. It's almost like he was conserving energy. He's not going to get the Canelo fight now. He's going to go right back to the position where he was at. People are going to see him as a guy who is always going to be the top reigning person in his organization in the PBC. They're not going to want to spend the money. A promoter isn't not going to want to spend the money to pull strings to pay this guy extra bread to get over and get that big fight. So if you're Caleb Plant and you're going into the 10th round and you've won all 10 rounds, step on the gas, man. Step on the fucking gas. I just don't understand. I know he got the win. He secured the win. And, he did start stepping on the gas late 11th, late 12th round. And he shows you that he can be aggressive, but it was a little too much, a little too late. I don't know if that's a saying, but it was just too late. Not enough, a little too late. I don't know. But he could have got the fight. He could have came out of here with a finish. Anything after the 6th round, he could have easily finished. Put on a little more pressure. Start walking him down. He just let Caleb Truax walk him down, and I get that that's his style. He's a beautiful counterpuncher. He exposes angles that other people just aren't able to do. He exposes angles that don't even have a name. And he just wasn't able to get the finish. And the finish is what you need, especially when you're on the PBC and you know you're going to have issues with getting these other boxing promotions to do the fights that need to happen. Man, what is this you're pulling up? Jean Charles Skarbowski. I've never heard of this gentleman.
John Charles.
John Charles.
I was watching Ultimate Fighter highlights, and this guy, just go ahead and read this last part here. I got it highlighted for you. He's how old is he? He's 45 years old right now.
45.
He's GSP knows him.
Okay, John
John
Charles Skarbowski. He is known for consuming large amounts of alcohol before training and fights.
That's his thing.
Go down. Is this his record?
He fought in Thailand.
When was his last fight?
It's probably gonna be a while.
He fought early 90s, 1992.
Yeah, 92 is his first one.
Last fight.
2005, 2006.
Yeah, you can't do that shit anymore. Maybe out of the country.
Right.
For sure not here. For sure not here.
I just liked him. He was on, what does it say? 12th season of The Ultimate Fighter. GSP brought him in and was like, yeah, this guy likes to get drunk. He's a great training partner, though, and every single one of the Ultimate Fighters was gassed after they sparred with him. And the dude was drunk as fuck.
That's great. So he just came on as a guest?
Yeah.
He wasn't on the show to compete for the contract?
No. GSP just brought him in as a training partner. Just like, hey, meet this guy. He's got, everything Muay Thai, basically. Lived in Thailand, fought in Thailand, probably kicked some trees with the Thais, and he was drunk the whole time. Great guy.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah. Speaking of role models who aren't role models, John Charles Skarbowski.
Shout out.
Yeah.
John Charles Skarbowski. That's a nameful.
And you're on to James Vick. Have you started that?
No, we'll talk about James Vick here in a minute. Let's finish up talking mad smack on old boy Caleb Plant here. Caleb Plant, darn on you. That's really all I have to say. I mean, he would not step on the gas, and when he did, it was too late. And now we're going to have to go through another year of the doubters, of the people saying, oh, why would we put this guy in a big fight? We're probably going to get fucking Canelo Triple G before we get a Canelo Caleb Plant fight. I don't understand. Oh, well, that's boxing for you. First card of the night, preliminary, starts out as a draw. I can't tell you the last time I saw the first fight of an MMA card, regional or UFC, that started out with a draw. Can't tell you. It doesn't happen. And one of these guys won this fight. Brandon Lynch won this fight. But he didn't get the decision because it's boxing nonsense. Boxing nonsense. The main card had some interesting stuff happen on it. This Joey Spencer, Isaiah Selden fight. Oh, man. Did you see any of this card run? No. Joey Spencer,
No.
He is a fucking serial killer. Absolutely murdering Isaiah Selden. Comes out quick. Well, pretty quickly in the first round, Isaiah Selden gets clipped and knocked down. he gets so mad, and obviously he's concussed at this point. He gets up, and he throws not 2, but 3 unanswered shots at the back of Joey Spencer's head. See if you can pull this up, actually. I'd like to watch this again. The thing about it is the ref handled this so well. He stepped in after the first back of the head shot, and that's when Selden threw an additional 3 shots to the back of the head. The ref took 2 points. That's super fucking rare when the ref takes 2 points. I can count on one hand the amount of times that's happened. Yeah, if you go to probably like a minute in. Oh, yeah. Scroll back just a smidgen.
And I think you got the remote over there.
For
Volume.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, he clipped him super early.
What? Who's?
I wonder if it'll show the back. If for people that are just listening, we're watching Joey Spencer. He knocks down Isaiah Selden, and as Isaiah Selden gets up, he punches him purposely 3 times in the back of the head. Super cheap.
Are they showing it or not?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't seen what this clip is showing. You might have to go all the way back to the beginning. All right, go back even farther. Oh, yeah, here you go. Check this shit out, Jack.
Well, he looks pissed right now.
Yeah, I think it's going to show a replay. He gets into a clinch. Boom. 1, 2, 3. He was going to throw another 3 unanswered shots to the back of the head. So this ref takes 2 points.
It looks attempted, honestly. He hit his back on the first 2.
Yeah, they were
Third one,
intentional.
maybe.
So anyway, he ends up getting slept. Joey Spencer looks great. That's a kid that's on my radar. He ends up KOing him.
Spencer's in the red.
Yes, correct.
Oh, there's his name.
Ends up KOing him pretty quickly. So Selden actually contests the stoppage, even though he had gotten dropped numerous times. It was a very clear, good stoppage. This ref did a phenomenal job. And something really interesting happened. He straight played promoter, and I didn't know the refs could do this. After the stoppage, Selden tries to get off of his stool, and he starts trying to argue with the ref that it should not be stopped, and the ref threatens to take his pay away. Did you know they could do that?
No idea.
I had never seen that in MMA.
I did know arguing with a referee usually results in getting your way.
Yeah, usually not in combat sports.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I see it in soccer all the time. These guys.
Oh, really?
You know, baseball, too. Every time you argue with the ref, you usually get your way.
You do get your way? Oh, I thought you were saying the refs.
Yeah, it's sarcasm.
Oh, I don't understand sarcasm.
Maybe I'm being facetious.
You're being facetious. Yeah, Jimmy Lennon Jr. was in the announcer. We got to talk about this moron. This guy's wearing rubber purple Nitro gloves with no mask, announcing these fights. Did anyone tell Mr. Lennon Jr. that you can't get COVID through your hands? It's actually a viral disease.
Who are you talking about?
The announcer, Jimmy Lennon.
In this fight?
Oh, you probably won't be able to find him in this video. Maybe at the very beginning. He's doing the announcing, and he's wearing purple gloves. No mask. You care that much about acting like you're protecting against coronavirus that you're going to wear some rubber purple gloves? Some nitrile purple gloves? But you're not going to put a fucking mask on? It's just funny to me what these people are doing to pretend like they're preventing COVID. Yeah, you'd have to go to the boxing, but it's okay.
I can't find it, but it's about appearances at this point.
Right. It's funny, though, because when I'm watching TV shows now, I'll be like, oh, wow, those people aren't wearing a mask, and it's a TV show from, like, 2013.
Oh. I've seen some new TV shows, they'll put masks on the people, like, I mean, they're depicting everyday life, which is what they should be doing, but, you know, are they depicting or are they reinforcing these ideas of, I don't know.
Grey's Anatomy, they're wearing KN95s. How funny is that?
Straight from China.
Straight from China. The KN95s. Shout out Sean Porter. Sean Porter was working the booth for this boxing event, PBC. Oh my God, Sean Porter had 3 different patterns going on in his suit. He looked beautiful. He had a watch that probably cost about the same as a neighborhood here in Kansas City. Oh man, he looked phenomenal. SHA. Yeah, he worked the booth. He looked good. Does a good job. I like listening to Sean Porter talk. His watch, his suit that he was wearing. Oh, he was beautiful. There's one other decent fight on this card here. Michael Coffey. He absolutely murdered Darmani Rock. Man, he dropped him right out of the gate, and then he landed one of the nastiest uppercuts I've ever fucking seen in boxing. The nastiest uppercut. Darmani Rock should not have been in that fight. That's for sure. That's boxing for you. That's boxing for you. They set these guys up in tune-up fights. It's something that doesn't happen in MMA. They set these guys up for failure. Oh, here you go. Man, you're on it today. Oh,
These are some massive dudes.
Right. Yeah, they're heavyweights. Yeah, so he clips him right here, and then round 3. Darmani Rock never stopped trying. He just he wasn't able to close the gap in skill level. Oh my fucking God. Just beautiful. Shout out Michael Coffey.
Even with the beard.
That's actually, did you hear that on the audio?
What?
That's what the commentator said.
Oh, really?
Even with the beard. Man.
And they're back at it.
Yeah, he finishes it pretty quickly over here.
Coffee 30-10.
I was amazed that they tried to count again here. Like in the fight, this is a just bleed ref. Just bleed refs are the ones that just want to see a death in the fucking ring. Like, how many times do you want this guy to get dropped before you do your fucking job?
Well, I mean, it's up to him and his corner.
It's up to the refs to protect the fighters.
Yeah, well, rule 1, protect yourself. He's standing up and he's putting his hands up.
I guess.
It's not his fault. The other guy's really good.
Tune-up fights. They only happen in fucking boxing. I'm so sick of boxing. Caleb Plant, though, looked great. Hopefully he gets a real fight next. I mean, Truax is a real fighter, but he's not on Plant's level. You can't be a minus 6,000 favorite. A minus 6,000 favorite. Do you know how much you'd have to bet on Caleb Plant to win $100?
$6,000?
Yeah. You'd have to bet $6,000 to win $100. That's how big of a favorite that guy was. All right, so we found another event this weekend to satisfy our need for people punching each other. XMMA, their first show ever. XMMA. It looks like it might have been on Fight Network, but if you guys remember a couple weeks ago on the Nitro show, I roasted Fight Network. I bought it for like $5 on about 8 different devices, TV, phone, different TV, laptop, and none of them would stream. I tried to watch the UAE fights, and none of them would stream, so fuck Fight Network. But they had a live stream of this XMMA on their website for free. And what was interesting about this XMMA card is it was stacked with ex-UFC fighters. It was their first show ever, and XMMA had made some pretty moronic statements, some pretty outlandish statements. They come out and told a lot of press that, hey, XMMA is the new MMA promotion. You know, we're going to run this person or this person out of business. And they were just talking up their fucking promotion. And they came in with a pretty good strategy. We're going to go over here in a minute. They brought in 6 excuse me, they brought in 6 ex-UFC fighters to try to get some name value to this card. And it was too long to go through, but there was actually quite a bit of fighters that came over from other big regional promotions, Bellator. They had a couple Bellator veterans, people who had winning records in Bellator. We know Bellator's no joke. They have probably the second best guys in the world next to the UFC. And this was an interesting card. There was so much name value on it, you just wanted to see what would happen. And it got my ass to pull up the live stream. And I'll tell you what, I had a blast. I had a blast watching this card. It was fun from top to bottom. One thing I noticed immediately is the stream was fantastic. It was high quality. There was multiple angles. The stream looked incredible. And the whole time I kept thinking, ESPN Plus, get it together. Get it together. XMMA on their first show ever, they're a regional promotion. They don't have a dollar to their name. Instead of spending millions of dollars on COVID testing, let's fix our fucking streaming software that people are paying $5 a month for.
Much like the Nitro show.
That too.
We're streaming at a pretty high quality bit right here.
Correct, 1080p webcam. You know, and we're not asking anyone to pay for this. ESPN Plus is asking you to pay $5 a month. $12.99 if they trick you into getting Disney Plus and Hulu with it. $13 a month to watch shit in fucking 480 half the time. There's not even a quality selection on ESPN Plus. I turn on ESPN Plus and I can't tell if it's LeBron. I can't tell if it's Steph Curry. I can't tell who the fuck's playing because it's just grainy. I don't know who the hell's playing basketball. Okay? I don't know what's going on. I try to search something on ESPN Plus. Say, hey, I'd like to watch, the McGregor fight's coming up. Let me go back and watch Dustin Poirier's fights. I go search Poirier. It's like, we can't find that guy. You can't find Dustin Poirier in your fucking search library? What can you find? You can't get high quality, and you can't find fights to go back and watch them. Horrible. An absolute horrible service. $5 you got to pay just to get access to that. And that doesn't include what you're paying to watch these fights. The McGregor pay-per-view was $70. $70. UFC 257 was a shit show on ESPN Plus. Half the people on the West Coast couldn't even get access to the stream. Half the people on the West Coast couldn't get access to the stream. And then all around, I had people calling me, hey, dude, you got a live link? You got a stream? I said, well, I fucking bought it, and it's working for me. What's going on with yours? Like, well, we bought it. We paid $70. We got our buddies together. These are people that never watch fights. They never watch fights. They had their buddies over. They ordered 40 fucking pounds of wings, 16 pizzas. They had the ranch dip. One asshole brought the vegetable tray. They're ready to watch some fights. And you know what ESPN Plus said? Yeah, we paid $4.4 billion for the UFC, so that way we could fuck it all up on the streaming app. $4.2 billion they paid for the UFC, so we can fuck it up, and that way we can't give you guys access to it. I was one of the few that got to watch the McGregor fight live. Tons of people, $70 down the drain. $70. That's a lot of fucking money, and they upped the price just for this single pay-per-view. Usually it's $60, $65. They made it $70. And they could not get people tuned in. There was NFL players that were raging on fucking Twitter. I'm trying to think of who the main, I think he's a linebacker. Oh, here you go. UFC fans not happy. J.J. Watt, both things can be true, but the fight is not working. I would like my $70 back. When you got a millionaire asking for their $70 back, for one, that guy's a piece of shit for tweeting that, so fuck J.J. Watt. But for two, that means he's pretty pissed off that his shit's not working. And, you know, that's unacceptable. You bought this company for $4.2 billion. How much do you think every content that you have on ESPN Plus is worth? Millions. Billions. Multi-billions. Is this from ESPN? Regarding the ESPN Plus issues tonight, Richard Deitchy. Does this guy work for ESPN? Okay, so this Richard Dietrich guy, he messaged ESPN, and this is the response he got. He said, regarding the ESPN Plus issues tonight for UFC 257, I emailed ESPN PR. Here's what I just got back. ESPN says, we are aware of an issue impacting some fans' ability to access tonight's pay-per-view event, and we are working to resolve it as quickly as possible. Bullshit. I don't think it got resolved. I don't know, I'm just talking out my butt, but I don't think it got resolved. Point is, get it the fuck together, because XMMA looked phenomenal. Shout out XMMA. High quality stream, no buffering. They're brand new. It's their first stream ever, and they go off without even a hint of unprofessionalism in their stream. It's rare you watch a fight on a regional circuit with a sketchy live stream and it looks as phenomenal as XMMA. Super impressed. This card was a lot of fun.
You want to see this Francisco Rivera?
Oh, I saw this, but let's play it again. This guy is a Terminator. I believe this guy's name is Ryan Lilly, that he just puts down 6 feet under.
Yeah, why don't you play-by-play that for these guys?
Francisco. Replay it. Does he open with an uppercut, followed by 2 more uppercuts? Fakes the jab, uppercut to the body, uppercut to the body, uppercut to the chin. Now he's just throwing wild. Left hook. Overhand right. Jesus, this kid was tough too. Pull up this kid's name. I think he was 10-6. Francisco Rivera by TKO. Francisco Rivera hadn't fought in some years before this. But he's one of the UFC vets that we're going to address here that was on this card to give it some name value. Ryan Lilly, TKO, punches. His last fight before this was in the UFC, July 30th, 2016. So this is a little over 4 years since he last fought, and he came in and looked like that. How old is this guy, 39?
Yeah.
Francisco Rivera, shout out. Looked like a fucking Terminator.
From
Whittier, California. Fucking dog, man. Fucking dog. And Ryan Lilly wasn't there to play around. He came in experienced, young, hungry. I think he was 32. He looked good. He had kind of a Taekwondo sideways stance. He looked good, man. He looked in shape. It's a good fight. You know, he answered back some shots, but there's just no stopping the marching forward pressure of Francisco Rivera. Let's see. I mean, his record's garbage, but 31,
Yeah.
10-6 prior to Saturday. Be interesting to see what happens with XMMA. I thought they did a great job. So let's go back to these notes here, and I'll point out all these fighters they had on it. The stream started out pretty quickly, too. Tyler Ray, he put Austin Jones to sleep. Head and arm choke, so shout out him. Great finish. One of the guys on the prelims was one of the reasons that primarily I know a lot of hardcore fans were tuning in. Hopefully I don't slaughter this gentleman's name. Mahmoud Sibi. He is Mahmoud.
I think it's, Mahmoud.
Mahmoud Sibi. Pull up that guy's Wikipedia. We were just going over his credentials. He's a wrestler from Egypt. When you look at this kid, I mean, he is leaking juice from his pores. He's jacked to the gills. He has one of the best physiques I've ever seen. Here's his resume. Mahmoud Fazi.
Yeah, if it's the same guy.
Yeah, no, this is him. This is just, it has his other 6 names listed. Egyptian Greco-Roman wrestler and professional mixed martial artist. 4-time Arab champion. 5-time African champion. Won a gold medal at the African Cup. Best wrestler in Africa in 2015. Do you know how many savages are in Africa? That's where Francis Ngannou's from. Those people are built on hard work. just digging in the dirt. The fucking guys from Africa are some serious motherfuckers. Before you go back to I want to finish reading this guy's credentials here.
Oh.
Malmud, he's the third tab over. Boom. Okay. 5-time African champion. Won a gold medal at the African Cup. Best wrestler in Africa. He's Egyptian. He's not even African. And he's going over Egypt.
Egypt's in Africa.
Right, but he's not. Okay, disregard. But anyway, he wins the African Cup. Best wrestler in Africa, 2015. He looks bodied up, man. He looks bodied up. He has a silver medal in Nikolai Bitrov, Bulgaria, 2016. Then he wins a silver medal in the Spain Grand Prix, May 2016. A bronze medal in Germany Grand Bronze Tournament, June 2016. The point is, you name it, if there's a medal, this kid's got it. Ooh, looks like he did some Dave Schultz Tournament, Colorado, 2017, won a silver medal. And then the primo is he competed in the men's Greco-Roman 75-kilogram event at the 2016 Summer Olympics. Ooh, that was in Rio. Nice. And he was eliminated in round 32, but he's an Olympian. This kid's an Olympian. He had 0 mixed martial arts fights. He was on the prelims. And boy, did they feed him a can. He fought a guy who was supposed to weigh 170 pounds, and about 80 pounds of his opponent's weight was in his stomach. He was wearing some UFC shorts that you can buy from the fan store. I mean, man, did they find this guy a can. They did it right. Shout out XMMA. They did it right. He fought an absolute can. I couldn't believe that. It's odd that they would let you fight in UFC shorts. Like, you just bought these from the fan store. And now you're going to go fight an Olympian wrestler? Yeah, that's going to go well for you. That's going to go real well for you. It's 2011. You're not going to be able to find it very quickly.
Yeah, I think what we're looking at here is tetherball.
Tetherball.
Yeah. Pretty cool, though.
That's cool.
15 seconds. That was really cool.
Let's get back to XMMA. Oh, man. So, he was on the prelims. You know, another thing, too, that I always look at, and this is just me being anal, you can always tell when a promotion has spent good money on their infrastructure by the way the canvas looks on the cage. The canvas on the cage here at XMMA was tight. It almost seemed more like a cloth rather than a piece of plastic. When you look at the XMMA cage, you can tell that they spent good money on the infrastructure. Their previews in between fights were a little bit cheesy. They did some animated, almost like anime-style combat, which is kind of ironic because the last UFC event had some weird animations too. But I'm going to give XMMA a break here because they don't have a lot of film from the fighters yet or the fights. So I'll tell you what, every single fighter on here got an interview, like a personal close-up interview, which is great, creating a spotlight, creating content for these guys. They spent a lot of money. You could tell from even the canvas. They didn't go with the cheap fucking plastic. They went with a solid canvas that looked good. You could tell it wasn't too squishy. Guys weren't slipping on it left and right. It was a good canvas. The cage looked good. The camera angles were great. They did a great job. Here it is. You think this looks good, don't you?
Yeah, it looks nice.
Good views. Fight Network, fuck you, is a sponsor on the cage there. Oh, they put the whole event up. So if you guys want to go watch this event, they actually, XMMA uploaded the entire event to YouTube. It's XMMA, and it's under Vick versus Fialo.
Yeah,
Fihalo.
be one of the first 350 subscribers.
Man, already 18,570 views. That's pretty good. And I'm telling you, it's the name value. This promotion was smart. They were fucking smart, man. This promotion was real smart in what they did. We'll get back to it here in a minute, but they brought in a lot of name value with these UFC guys. Yeah, I feel so bad for Vick. Yeah, poor Vick, man. We're going to talk about that, but he might be looking to retire. So here's some of the UFC vets they had on this card. Jack May, who lost. And that's one thing that you're going to see. I wrote down when they won or lost, and it's not like the UFC guys came in and they fought them cans. They put hard fights for these UFC veterans. Hard fights. There was no gimme fights on this card, except for on the prelims where they set up an Olympian with a guy who bought a pair of shorts from the fan website. Except for that, there was no gimme fights. Jack May took a loss, ex-UFC fighter. Marcelo Golm, he took a win after an incredible fight. You know, he got tuned up early. He looked good coming out of the gate, started getting tuned up. He came out second round looking phenomenal, and he was able to get it to the ground and finish it. Kyle Stewart, who is United States Marine Corps, shout out Shark Vaughn. I thought he looked great in the UFC. He was always fun to watch. He took a loss. He might have had fight of the night. The kid he fought was tough as hell. The kid Kyle Stewart fought, we'll get his name here in a minute. He was an ex-Bellator vet. And you know, Kyle Stewart won the first round. The second was debatable. And Kyle Stewart's opponent just started doing one-arm push-ups on the ground before he came out for the third round. And I kept thinking to myself, what the fuck is this guy doing? He knew what he was doing. Came out and starched Kyle Stewart pretty quickly in the third round. Came out and starched him. He looked great. There's a lot of name value. So Kyle Stewart took a loss. He's ex-UFC. Kyle Bochniak was on the card. This was fight of the night. Kyle Bochniak versus KO Uruguay. Fight of the fucking night. This could be a contender for fight of the year. Kyle Bochniak out of the UFC as well. He's most known for when he had a war with Zabit Magomed Sharipov in the UFC. He put his hands down. He eggs Zabit to come on. We know Zabit gasses. It was later in the second, third rounds. Kyle Bochniak put his hands down. I think he went on a pretty nasty 1-5 skid. Ended up getting cut. XMMA picked him up for name value. He's exciting. You know, he was getting tuned up by Uruguay initially in this fight. The other kid was no joke. They were both stand-up. And Kyle Bochniak, you know, he survived some of the calf kicks this guy was throwing. The other guy was throwing a lot of kicks. I believe he's a Muay Thai guy. He is from Brazil. That was exciting. That was a fucking war. I mean, I had a lot of fun watching this card. So much name value. I was actually genuinely excited to watch it. So Kyle Bochniak picked up a win in a huge war. Francisco Rivera. We just kind of stopped and glanced at this when we saw his video earlier, but fuck, dude, this guy's a Terminator. He's a Terminator. Almost 5 years out of the game. Last fight was a loss in the UFC. He comes out against a tough Bellator veteran, Ryan Lilly. And Ryan Lilly wasn't playing around. He looked calm. He looked composed. He looked in there. In there like swimwear, he looked in there. And he couldn't get anything going. He came out kind of sideways, taekwondo stance, but he was landing on Francisco Rivera. It just nothing seemed to hurt Francisco. Nothing seemed to want to back him up. Ryan Lilly, he's experienced, man. He has multiple finishes. He has wins in Bellator. He looked good. But Francisco is a fucking Terminator, man. He marched him down and put on probably performance of the night. Between that and the Bochniak fight, this entire card was worth watching. And then things took a very sad turn. Pull up James Vick's Wikipedia. We need to address this. Please. It's hard to pick against James Vick. He was at one time one of the best 155 pounders in the world. He's 6'3", so naturally he started to get knocked out quite frequently at 155 pounds. And shortly after, he moved up. A lot of times when guys cut too much weight, it really affects their chin. He moved up in weight, and he continued to take losses. Go ahead and scroll all the way down to his record. So this is his record here. Scroll down one more. His last win came against Francisco Trinaldo, February 18, 2018. Shortly after this, he gets knocked out by Justin Gaethje. August 25th, 2018. After that, he loses a close decision to Paul Felder. He gets knocked out by Dan Hooker. That was his last fight at 155 pounds. To get knocked out like that, completely obliterated, completely unconscious, inside of little over a year, from August to July, a little less than a year actually, to get completely unconscious, to get knocked out like that, you have to question somebody's chin. And for this guy to be 6'3", cutting that much weight, he decided it was best to move up to 170 pounds. Go down real quick. Let's just talk this guy up, gas him up here. Before this, he was, keep going, up. He was 9-0. He got into the UFC. Okay, down, sorry. So he gets into the UFC at 4-0. He goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wins in a row in the UFC. To win 5 wins in a row in the UFC, even unranked at 155 pounds, is phenomenal. James Vick goes 5-0. He loses to Beneil Dariush. Beneil Dariush is an absolute fucking killer. Shortly after he loses to Beneil Dariush, he goes on another run. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 wins in a row. 3 finishes. And he beats Abel Trujillo, Polo Reyes, Joseph Duffy. Joseph Duffy's beat Conor McGregor before. Okay? After that, he beats Francisco Trinaldo. And he beat Francisco Trinaldo at his own game, stand-up. And James Vick looked great. So now he goes 4-0. He's 13-1 in the UFC at this point. February 18th, 2018, and it all goes downhill. This is one of the saddest careers ever. He gets knocked out unconscious inside 1 year. Twice. And they address it as maybe a weight-cutting issue. Again, he's 6'3", fighting at 155 pounds. He's looking like a world beater. People still had hope at this point. He ends up cutting only to 170. Physically, he looked great. What happens? He gets knocked out by Nico Price from an up kick. Completely unconscious. Knocked the fuck out. And they ended up cutting him from the UFC after this. Sad. Super sad. So when he goes to the regional circuit, you think, oh, this guy's going to be a serial killer on the regional. Nobody can fuck with this guy. They bring in Andre Fajilo to say, hey, hold my fucking beer. James Vick looked good in the first part of this fight. He was being active. He was using his range. But again, XMMA, I think their idea was to make a name off these ex-UFC guys to get some credit. And Andre Fajilo, he fucking wrecked James Vick. He fucking wrecked him. Andre Fajilo fights out of Kansas. But Sanford MMA is not in Kansas. Maybe he's just from Kansas. Born in Caceres, Portugal? Carcaes, Portugal? He's only 26 years old. Go back to the notes here. James Vick. Okay, so it ends up Andre Fajilo. Let's see the round. Did it end early third or second? But James Vick took a turn around round 2 after looking phenomenal, and it looked like James Vick might be one of those guys who makes his reign back on the regional circuit and really builds himself back up. Shortly after, Andre Fajilo just began to take over, and he landed some fucking amazing boxing. Ended up having James Vick just brutalized, out on his feet a number of times. It was a just bleed ref. I think the ref wanted to see him probably overcome. He probably knew who James Vick was. He probably wanted to give him every opportunity, but James Vick got brutalized. He got fucking brutalized. In the last few years, James Vick has taken some absolute horrific amount of damage. He has absorbed a horrific amount of damage. I would like to see James Vick probably call it quits. See if you can play that clip so you can see how horrible this is. Out on his feet. He's not in this at all. The ref wanted to give him a chance. Andre Fajilo just brutalizes him. Oh my God. Uppercuts ×2. Third uppercut lands. Check left hook.
He lifted him off the mat with that.
He did. I mean, this guy's boxing was incredible. His heart, too, because he was getting tuned up by Vick in the first and early second. Okay, so it's round 2. So less than halfway through round 2, this guy brutalizes James Vick. James Vick couldn't get up for 8-10 minutes after this. He was laying on the mat. We're pretty sure he broke his jaw. I don't know if there's an injury update, but we're pretty sure he broke his fucking jaw in this fight. I'd like to see Vick stop. I'd like to see him call it quits. You want to go coach, you want to be around the sport. 5 losses in a row is fucking rough. Especially when 3 of those were brutal knockouts. It's rough, man. James Vick is a fucking good guy, too. Yep, no update since the day before the fight. I think he's probably in a really low place right now. I hope he's okay. Shout out to him. He's probably made a fuck ton of money in the UFC if he's been fighting in the UFC for almost 10 fights. Got in there at 5-0. He's probably made a lot of money. Hopefully he invested it. Total career earnings. I mean, that's just what was reported. $765,000. Hopefully he invested it. Hopefully he's got hobbies, because you never know when the chin reaper's going to come get you, and he got him at this point.
Maybe we can get him on the podcast.
Yeah, James Vick, shout out. Come on. The Nitro show, baby.
The Texecutioner.
Hopefully he's okay. He was so fun to watch. So tall. Poor guy, man. Just fucking brutalized. And he looks so good. Every fight he comes out so strong. He looks so good. And he just can never pull it off. He can't maintain. Oh, well, UFC's back. We're going to have more shit to talk about this week. But before we go, let's break down this main event that's going to happen this Saturday. Alistair Overeem has announced that this is going to be his last run. He said this several times, and I'm glad he's saying this. It's really good because, I mean, he's went on a lot of streaks and then a lot of lost streaks. And I'm glad that he's using this as his final run, but that also means that he's probably mentally checked out. I don't know if you can say stuff like that and still be mentally at the place where you need to be to train as hard as you do to beat these other guys who are 100% in the game. But it's Overeem versus Alexander Volkov, and it's this Saturday, February 6, 2021. This will be at the UFC Apex. The reason why that's important is because you're going to have 2 heavyweights in a tiny octagon. The UFC Apex octagon is, I think, 20 feet, 25 feet, and then the main one's 30 feet. Regardless, when you're in there, 25 foot rather than the 30-foot regular octagon. So this says here for the context, the octagon at all other events has a 44% larger area than the octagon at the Apex. When you see these heavyweights in there, think back to Stipe Miocic, Daniel Cormier 3. You thought it was going to be an advantage for Daniel Cormier to be able to close the distance with the wrestling. And it was shown that it wasn't. It actually worked in Stipe's favor. He was able to shuck off the takedowns, and he was right there in his face. He didn't have room to use lateral movement. One thing that's really interesting about this fight is Alexander Volkov. He's a kickboxer, but he uses a lot of movement. He possesses knockout power, but he rarely knocks people out. He's kind of a point fighter. Alistair Overeem can be a point fighter as well. These guys have a common recent win. They both knocked out Walt Harris. I believe Volkov did it a little bit quicker, knocked him out 115 of round 2. Overeem knocked out Walt Harris, I believe, round 2 at 3 minutes. So they both had pretty good performances against Walt Harris. And Walt Harris is, I mean, he's a killer. Anybody's going to give you a little bit of trouble. It's going to be hard to get that guy out inside the first round. He's so athletic. He went through a horrific incident, if you guys remember. Walt Harris's daughter actually was believed to be kidnapped and murdered about a year ago. And so he wanted to win both of those fights. I mean, he is a fucking killer. Yeah, if you haven't read this story, Jack, it's horrific. Blanchard was his daughter, this 19-year-old girl. Ibrahim Zahid is accused of abducting her from that store and shooting her to death. So they ended up getting this guy. Hell yeah. Fuck that guy. Oh, go up. He admitted to it? Yazid admitted to shooting a girl and stated the girl went for the gun, according to the statements made by some individuals in court documents. Yeah, Walt Harris went through some fucking shit. Regardless, he is a handful. Both of these guys share a win over him.
You got some audio you want to mute on that TV?
Sure.
I think that's where it's coming from.
Just watching TV here.
Josh Allen's been
blowing up.
Yeah, he's been blowing it up, but not anymore.
What, do you have anything good to say?
We're talking about Jean Charles.
Oh, he probably loves Jean Charles.
He's GSP's coach. He's the GOAT. Season 11.
Fuck.
Nick Diaz says, Vamo? Canelo? Oh, yeah. Vamos.
He probably loves Canelo.
I'm sure he does.
Mexicans love Canelo.
Yeah.
It's like their president.
Well, yeah, I thought he was Irish.
Canelo?
First time I ever saw him.
It's the red hair. Hey,
Yeah.
will you bring over that coffee?
I can do that.
Thank you. Yeah, the common denominator here is going to be looking at that Walt Harris fight. And the reason, when you take a peek at that, why I think this fight is going to be fucking incredible is, oh, thank you, sir. They both have pretty similar performances to Walt Harris. Walt Harris is a savage. They both were able to finish him. Volkov is the younger guy. And I think when I remember looking at Volkov, he might only be 32 years old. Overeem is 40, 41. Volkov, 32. How old is Overeem? 40, 41? Maybe 39?
Got me going down this.
The rabbit hole with
the rabbit hole with
Blanchard.
murder.
I know, it's fucked up.
Walt Harris is 37.
Walt Harris, 37.
Here
Here
he
you
is.
go. Alistair Overeem is 40. Got him on it today. On it. Dialed in, baby. Okay, so go down to their wins. So here's Alistair Overeem, and he's calling this his last run at the title. And this is important because you have a decision to make. Is he calling this his last run because he's mentally checked out already? Or is he smart enough to know that he's at the end of his career and this is his last opportunity? And is that taking away from his training or his heart at all? I can't tell you the answer yes or no. This guy has had one of the longest, most decorated kickboxing careers. He's had one of the longest, most decorated MMA careers. This guy's taken a lot of damage. Most people just know him from getting knocked the fuck out by Francis Ngannou in one of the most horrific knockouts. Go all the way up to his recent ones. God, started fighting in 99. So this guy's been fighting for 21 years in MMA. Yeah, Overeem.
Yeah, Overeem.
And this doesn't count his kickboxing career. Go back to his first kickboxing fight. This is MMA. So keep going. Does he have a kickboxing fight that dates 99? Nope. Okay, so he started fighting in general in 1999, which he was doing two sports, both kickboxing and MMA simultaneously. He was the K1 Grand Prix champion. I mean, that's some shit right there. K1 Grand Prix champ. People started to worry about Alistair's chin. he's gone through a phase back before USADA testing was good. We'll put into quotations. Before USADA testing was good, Overeem was fucking jacked. They called him Ubereem. Look up a picture of Ubereem. This is Ubereem right here, really. This was him young in his kickboxing. But go ahead and type in Ubereem and see what this guy looked like. Holy shit. Nobody was juicier than Ubereem. Holy fuck, man. When he was Ubereem and knocked out Brock Lesnar, that was the top of this guy's career. Fucking Ubereem. Go ahead and pull up a picture of him now. Soft. But he's also 41. But yeah, that's when he was juicy. He was eating that horse meat. Let's go back to his record here. Okay, so his last MMA fights. Let's see his streak. Scroll up past this kickboxing nonsense. Up. All right, so he has a win over Walt Harris, and then he beat Augusto Sakai. You know, he beat him in the 5th round. Here was one thing that I wanted to point out to you guys. I think this fight is pretty square. It's pretty fair. I say square. It's pretty fair. And one thing that I was pointing out here is that if you look at Overeem's last fights, okay? Overeem's last fights, UFC Fight Night, Overeem versus Sakai. 5 rounds. That's a main event fight night. That means he was training for 5 rounds. If you look at his fight below that, where he fought Walt Harris, it was a UFC Fight Night, Overeem versus Harris, 5 rounds. He had to train for 5 rounds. Look below that. UFC on ESPN, Overeem versus Rosenstruck, 5 rounds. He was the main event. He had to train for 5 rounds. He did lose that one, but it was in the 5th round. 4 seconds before the bell rang, he lost that fight. He's been dying to get that rematch. Let's look at the fight before that. He beats Alexei Olenek. TKOs him. Round 1, 4:45. Oh, UFC Fight Night. Overeem versus Olenek. He had to train for 5 rounds. Before that, let's see, Blades versus Ngannou. So he was probably the co-main event on there. The point is that this guy has been training, and he had 5 main event fights in a row. There's 2 ways to take this. If you're training for 5-round fights, they say that you only have a limited number of those camps. You only have a limited number of those camps where you can train for 5 rounds. It's so hard on your body to get 5 rounds of cardio and conditioning. It's super fucking hard. These the odds here. Okay, both FanDuel and DraftKings odds have Overeem as the underdog, about plus 150. Volkov, the favorite, 192 and 182. That's almost dead even, both sides. Can you look up the Bovada betting odds, like if you wanted to actually bet on the line? Yep, same odds. Volkov about minus 190, Alistair Overeem plus 155. It's a pretty close fight. So, again, it's just that you have Overeem who's been training and training and training. He's going to come prepared for this. And, you know, he hasn't taken a ton of fucking damage in his last 5 fights. We have Alexander Volkov. Let's go see how long Walt Harris was on UFC 254, 3-round fight. Then he was in a main event where he had to train for 5. Then he was a co-main against Greg Hardy. When you look at the wear and tear on Overeem, it's hard for me to take him in any fight that has similar styles. The one thing I worry about in the small octagon is Overeem's power. The thing is with Overeem is that he doesn't like to lead the dance. But really neither does Volkov. They're both kind of counterpoint fighters. With the small cage, I think it's going to introduce a interesting median to this fight where you might get an exciting matchup of 2 styles that are similar, but it could also make for a pretty boring fight. That's why I'm glad that it's done in the smaller octagon, because hopefully it forces these guys to engage a little bit more. Later this week, we'll go in and we'll break it down as far as punch count, things of that nature. But gun to my head right now, I've got to go with Overeem. I think his wins are more meaningful. I think with him training for 5-round fights consistently, he's going to come in fucking phenomenal shape. And I think Overeem's going to etch out a late finish here, 4th or 5th round. That's my prediction, gun to my head. So if you're a DK fan, I believe Overeem 7,600. There's your sleeper pick of the week. Put him in every lineup. And then you got to pay me a percentage of the winnings. Put Overeem in every lineup. I think that this last run means a lot for his legacy. I think this last run, he really needs to fight for the title or get close to a title contention bout to retire. I think he's been training appropriately. He's had tons of main events. He's had tons of rounds. He hasn't absorbed a lot of damage. His loss to Jairzinho Rozenstruik came 4 seconds before the end of the bell. Then he beats Walt Harris. Then he beats Augusta Sakai in the 5th round. That's showing he can go 5 rounds. He went 5 rounds and was winning the fight against Jairzinho Rozenstruik. His chin's questionable. It's always going to be questionable. But we saw Volkov put it on Derek Lewis, and then Derek Lewis ended up finishing him right in the end of the 3rd round. We know that Volkov has a tendency to get lazy. He won't adjust his style. He's going to maintain his point fighting style, and it's just going to allow Overeem to figure him out. Overeem's been doing this for a long fucking time. You're not going to sit there and kickbox with Overeem. He's been doing this for a long time. So later this week, we'll go ahead and break down, pull up the rest of this card real quick before we get out of here. UFC Fight Night Overeem. I think it could be a banger. Okay, here's the rest of this card. This card's a sleeper. Co-main event, Corey the Sandman Sandhagen versus Frankie Edgar. That is a sleeper fight at bantamweight. Corey Sandhagen on a tear. Frankie Edgar coming down to 135 pounds, looking to make a name for himself. Corey Sandhagen's going to tune up Frankie Edgar. Macy Chiasson gets another jobber. They're building this girl up appropriately. Macy Chiasson is a savage. She is probably one of the scariest motherfuckers in the division. 7-1. She is fucking scary. Her top ground and pound is some of the most vicious ground and pound in women's MMA. What else we got here? God, this card is sleepy. Alexandre Pantoja, Manel Cape. Pantoja's a fucking savage. A fucking savage. Cody Stanman, Andre Ewell. Andre Ewell is one of my most favorite fighters to watch. He's got 2 punches, a jab and a left, but man, does he use them fucking well. He's got 2 punches, that's it. But he uses them so well. Here's one that really should be the co-main event. Carlos Diego Ferreira versus Beneil Dariush. That is going to be a fucking banger. I'm not going to talk about these too much today, but those are some good fucking fights. If you were originally not going to watch this card or you're only going to tune into the main event, you need to watch this whole card. There's some fights on the prelims too. So this week we'll do a jaw broke and we'll go through and we'll break down all these fights. We'll pick some winners and I'll give you my DK picks so you guys can lose some money like me. So, Jack, you got anything for the fans, the boys?
No.
Okay. God, I'm excited now. This card is deep. Sleepy good. Dude, that Carlos Diego Ferreira, Beneil Dariush, both those guys need that win. Ferreira's a killer. All right, let's wrap this up, dude. We've bored the people for long enough today. So if you watched XMMA, you won this weekend. That card was phenomenal. If you watched the Caleb Plant fight, as expected, minus 6,000 favorite. Caleb Plant's not getting a big fight. Fuck him. We've got fights back this weekend. Thank God we've been off for a couple weeks. Overeem, I have him winning. Late 4th, 5th round TKO. Heard it here first. For mine and yours, for his and hers, for Jack and I's. This was the Nitro Show, and we'll be back this week, boys. All right, everyone, have a great day. Peace out.